And now it's time for On Point, where we speak to experts to delve deeper into the biggest news stories in the spotlight right now. President-elect Yoon Suk-yeol has expressed a strong will to move the presidential office of Cheongwadae, which has long been a symbol of South Korea's presidential authority for over 7 decades. But come May, it's set to be relocated to history when it turns into a public venue upon the inauguration of the Yoon administration.
That's right. With the current Defense Ministry building selected as the next presidential office, we'll get an expert's view on Yoon's decision and what it could mean for the next administration moving forward. Now, for this, we're joined by Professor Song Se-ryun, a professor of law at Kyunghee University. Professor, thank you very much for joining with us today.
My pleasure.
So first and foremost, I guess with just about less than 50 days to go now, it does seem like right now President-elect Yoon Suk-yeol, his top priority is moving the presidential office away from the more traditional place that we had over at Cheongwadae. But why is he putting so much importance on moving the presidential office?
Well, I understand he wants to start off keeping his campaign premise and not be the imperial president. That imperial president has been a kind of a problem for decades and decades. But it is a problem of a president as an institution. Power is too much concentrated, and check and balance system does not really work in many cases. Delegation to the cabinet members are in many cases largely ceremonial. Those kind of things are combined with the fact that the Blue House has a physical limitation as well. The president is too much isolated. It's not a West Wing setup where in the White House in the United States, the president and advisors and staffs are all in the same general space. So I understand what he's trying to do, but it seems like he's picking a fight at a moving to a new location, which looks to people like there's a quibble over the address of his working office. So I think that at this point, people would like to see more of a working relationship with the current administration, which is soon to be a opposition party, and slimmest victory in his election is a mandate or order from the people that he has to work well with the opposition party. So it is a problem of optics, and it is a problem that he's coming out and looking like picking a fight.
Well, like you said, this has sparked a lot of controversy in the nation, but we also saw the Moon administration attempt something like this before, but it actually didn't happen. So how likely is it that the Yoon administration will pull off the move?
Well, given that it is a problem of an institution and also physical location, I'm sure it's not an impossible task, but it requires a careful planning and probably enough time to do either a reconstruction at the same place, or if he moves to a physical location, then there has to be an extensive renovation and putting in infrastructure that befits the presidency. So it's not impossible, but it's not going to be a short-term, quick fix or a month or two kind of project.
I mean, it really did come down to kind of two options, right? You either had Gwanghwamun or the current Defense Ministry building, but eventually, I mean, Yoon Suk-yeol did select the current Defense Ministry building as the potential next presidential office. I just want to kind of know what your stance is on the decision to choose the Defense Ministry building.
Well, I'm sure as a building, if you put enough infrastructure and renovation to make it into a presidential office, I'm sure is a viable option. But there are other matters. He's a president, and the Yoon Suk-yeol is provided with residence and the working office for 5 years. Whether the decision is a good one or not also depends on whether he goes through a proper due process, which is that the Blue House has been an institution for decades. So I think that people at least has a say in it whether we want the new location or not. And also, after 5 years, what happens if the new president comes in and has different ideas about the residents? Are we going to change residents every 5 years? That certainly is not going to be a good option. So I think that given the problem of the institution as a location, there has to be some solution, and that's why I think the President Moon also thought about moving and look for different solutions. But if you were to do that, then I think the planning has to be careful, and there has to be a consensus process where the legitimate decision to move is a sort of a final decision that will endure for long in the future.
Now, Professor, like you've just mentioned, Yoon's pledge to move the presidential office is aimed at enhancing communication with his officials and the people of Korea. But others argue that, this is just a waste of resources. So will the move really help the new administration better communicate, or is it more like symbolic or anything else?
Well, communication with his staff members is one thing, but communication with people, probably in today's day and age, physical location does not matter that much. Probably there is more technological means, SNS, more interviews, maybe YouTube channel if he wants to, which all can be done without moving. So I think that if it's an expression of his willingness to communicate with people, probably location should not be a sole solution. I remember that many presidents could have a communication channel other than going out to the street and greeting people. You have in the United States probably fireside chat to talk to or communicate to more people was a successful case. I think there has to be some way that new President Yoon Suk-yeol could use to highlight his strength and open the communication channel with people.
All right. Professor, thank you so much for your insights. We hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you. My pleasure.